Yeah, I'll get my speech from the trash can. How many weddings have you been to? Have they been considered traditional weddings? What we as Americans consider traditional is very different from other weddings around the country. Different cultures incorporate their own customs into their wedding ceremonies. Weddings are different around the world. It is very fascinating to learn what each culture views as important. I will discuss all the ways that weddings differ around the world, from the bride's outfit to the ceremony itself. First off, I will discuss the American wedding. I have been to plenty of weddings recently, including my sister's this past year. One tradition that first comes to mind is something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. The bride is expected to wear something that incorporates all of these categories. The tradition was created for good luck. The bride is also expected to wear white to symbolize her purity going into the marriage. After the ceremony, which can differ from person to person, there is a reception. This is to celebrate the love and marriage between the bride and the groom. This is a large party which incorporates dancing and mingling. During the reception, there is a send-off where everyone will watch the bride and groom leave for their honeymoon. Honeymoons are an American tradition. As they leave, they go on a vacation to spend quality time between just them two. Sarah Kaplan wrote about American weddings being too luxurious and said in the Washington Post that $30,000 was the average wedding cost in 2013. American weddings seem more upbeat, whereas Indian weddings, which I will discuss next, tend to be more serious. Indian weddings incorporate a lot more customs into their ceremonies. Although not all Indian marriages are, most of them are arranged. The parents decide who their kids will marry. In America, we marry for love. In India, they marry for a better life. The brides dress very differently. They do not wear a white dress, but a very modest red sari. Kavita Ramida, an American Indian who went to a Hindu wedding, stated firsthand that on the Wall Street Journal that showing skin and putting one's sensuality on display is frowned upon in Indian families. They also accessorize with plenty of gold and diamond jewelry, including necklaces and bracelets. They decorate their arms and feet with henna tattoos. And the secret behind the henna is that the deeper the color, the deeper the love. During the ceremony, the bride sits on the right side of the groom, which means that they are just acquaintances. However, once they are man and wife, she then moves and sits on the left side of him. Whereas American weddings only have a ceremony and a reception, Indian weddings include many more different rituals and ceremonies. As it was stated, some Indian weddings are arranged, and the same is true with Chinese weddings. Traditional Chinese weddings reflect their country's culture and customs. When they are arranged, the parents must go to a fortune teller to see if their marriage will be suitable. The fortune teller compares the potential bride and groom's birthdays and decides if they will be compatible. If so, then the planning may continue. The bride's family must provide a dowry for the groom's parents. This dowry will determine how accepting the groom's family is of the bride. The dowry goes towards the wedding funds. At the wedding, the bride typically wears 3 different dresses. She first wears a red dress, and in China, red symbolizes good life. Therefore, the dress is symbolic of having a good life with her husband. After the red dress, she wears a white dress, and then lastly, she wears a ballroom gown. This is what she wears throughout the rest of the night as she says goodbye to her guests. The groom usually wears 1 or 2 suits as well. The African Zulu weddings contain very diverse customs from the others. First off, instead of a dowry like in the Chinese culture, the groom pays for the bride. He tries to prove how much he values the bride as his potential wife. Some traditions involve the killing of animals as well. The bride's family will slaughter a goat after the wedding is official and the family has been invited. The groom's family also slaughters a goat or cow during the ceremony, and the bride places money into the stomach to signify good luck. The slaughters are also involved to reach the ancestors of the families. This creates a close bond between the in-laws. They also wear different attire than we are used to. Suzanne Daly posted in the New York Times in 2013 about South African weddings and shared that the women wear a traditional beaded skirt with a leopard skin collar, and the men dance in Zulu warrior dresses. Marriage is defined in Webster's dictionary as the state of being united to a person of the opposite sex as a husband or wife. This definition is so basic compared to all the traditions and customs that are found at a ceremony. Often we think that Americans do things traditionally, but when you learn about the different cultures, you learn that every place has different rituals. These diverse rituals give us insight to the world that we live in.